Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are. When Daniel learned about his wife's betrayal, he was standing in the kitchen, waiting. It was late, close to 11 in the evening. The apartment felt too quiet, as if even the walls were holding their breath. Then the door opened. Soft steps, a careless laugh, and there she was. Vanessa, her dark hair slightly messy, her eyes shining with that careless glow of someone who had enjoyed the night a little too much. She leaned against the doorway and smirked. "You're still awake." Daniel did not answer immediately. He studied her, every detail, every movement. The faint smell of Chujuch clung to her. Not his, not their home. "You're early today," she added, slipping off her heels and walking toward the kitchen counter. Her wedding ring caught the light for a brief second, then disappeared into shadow. Like it meant nothing. Like it had never meant anything. Daniel finally spoke, his voice calm. Too calm. "Was it the motel again, or did he upgrade you to a hotel this time?" Vanessa froze, just for a second. Then she crossed her arms and exhaled slowly. "Don't make it dramatic, Daniel. It was just something temporary. A distraction. I'm not planning to change anything between us." She said it like she was explaining something simple, something obvious, like she had every right. Daniel felt something inside him shift. Not break, not explode, just change. Irreversibly. "You think this changes nothing." "I love you," she replied quickly, stepping closer. Her voice softened, almost convincing. "But I can see someone else and still love you. Those things are not connected." He looked at her like he was seeing a stranger. "No, you just don't understand consequences." She frowned. "What consequences?" Daniel let out a quiet breath. His eyes hardened. "His wife knows." Vanessa blinked. "What?" He nodded slightly. "I told her." Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Vanessa's confidence cracked instantly. "You had no right." She raised her voice, anger flashing through her. "It meant nothing, do you hear me? It was just fun. Maybe for you." Daniel stepped closer now. "But from what I know, he wasn't the first." Her lips parted, but no words came out. "Pack your things. Tonight." Her face went pale. "Where am I supposed to go?" He shrugged slightly. To him. "Unless he suddenly realized you're not worth the trouble." "You loved me." Her voice dropped. "Desperate now. We can fix this. Everything can go back." "Back to what?" he asked quietly. "To you doing whatever you want and calling it love." She stepped closer, trying to touch his hand. "When I explain it properly, you'll understand. You'll see I'm right." Daniel almost laughed. But there was no humor left in him. "Start with your suitcase. Tomorrow everything that belongs to you will be outside." Vanessa stood there, frozen. For the first time that night, she looked scared. And for the first time, Daniel felt nothing for her at all. Vanessa did not sleep that night. She lay on the unfamiliar guest bed, staring into the darkness, listening to every sound in the apartment that was no longer hers. The silence pressed on her chest. From the other room, she could hear nothing. Daniel had closed the door, closed himself off, completely. By morning, the air felt colder. Not physically, emotionally. She woke up late, her head heavy, her thoughts tangled. For a moment she pretended nothing had happened, that she could walk into the kitchen, smile, and everything would fall back into place. But reality met her at the doorway. Daniel was already awake, dressed, composed, untouchable. He didn't even look at her when he spoke. "Eat something, then start moving your things." Vanessa sat down slowly. Her fingers trembled slightly as she touched the edge of the table. "I've already decided," she said quietly. "Part of my things are packed. Car will be here at noon. I'll leave." Pause. Then softer. "I'm sorry, Daniel." She forced a weak smile. "I did love you. At least, I think I did. But I can't live the way you expect." He finally looked at her. Cold. Measured. "Where will you go?" She hesitated. "Why do you care?" so I know where to send the divorce papers." The words hit harder than she expected. She inhaled sharply. "I'll stay with an old friend. I'll text you the address." "And not him," she added bitterly. "When I called him yesterday, he said he'd bury me if I came near him. His wife found out. She threw him out." Daniel gave a short nod. Not surprised. Not even slightly. By noon, everything was ready. Boxes, suitcases, fragments of a life that no longer existed. Vanessa stood at the door for a long moment. Her dark eyes lingered on him. "You don't have to do this," she said quietly. "We could still—" "No." He cut her off. Calm. Final. She swallowed her words, then whispered, "Call me later. We'll decide what to do with the rest. And I'm sorry for everything." The door closed behind her. Soft, but it echoed like something heavy breaking. Daniel stood alone. For a long time. Later that day his phone buzzed. A message. An address. A short line. "Don't share it with anyone." The next morning he met with a lawyer. Signed everything. Filed for divorce. From that moment his life turned into waiting. Not for her. For the end. Days passed. Then one evening there was a knock on the door. Daniel opened it. And saw him. A man in his late 50s. Expensive coat. Tired eyes filled with anger and humiliation. Richard Cole. The man Vanessa called a distraction. "I need to speak to her," Richard said sharply. "She doesn't live here anymore." Daniel replied, "Where is she?" "She's not answering calls. Not showing up at work." "What did she do?" Daniel leaned against the doorframe. "What do you mean?" Richard laughed bitterly. "She told everyone. Every single name. At the clinic. 2 pages. 2 full pages." Daniel's expression didn't change. "Several marriages are already falling apart. Mine included. My wife is taking everything. And me." He gave a hollow smile. "I'm lucky if I walk away alive. You should talk to a lawyer." Daniel said calmly. "Lawyer?" Richard snapped. "If I go near one, her family will bury me under concrete." Pause. Then quieter. "Where is she?" Daniel shook his head slightly. "Why do you need her?" Richard exhaled. "She said I loved her. That I'd never leave her." Daniel's lips curved faintly. "Not with humor. I already filed for divorce. And threw her out." Richard stared at him. Then let out a short, harsh laugh. "Smart man." He turned and walked away, muttering something about consequences. And people looking for her. After the door closed, Daniel stood still. Then picked up his phone. Called her. She answered after a long pause. "Yes. Your lover was here. He's looking for you." A sharp breath on the other end. "Damn." He said his life is falling apart. Lost his job. His wife kicked him out. And apparently, something else. Daniel added calmly. At the clinic they mentioned a list. 2 pages. Silence. Then quickly. "Don't believe him. I wrote it by hand. You know my handwriting is big." "Why did you even write it?" he asked. "You could have just told them." Vanessa's voice turned defensive. "It doesn't matter. They're already being treated. I just warned you. The rest is not my problem." He said coldly, "I need you at court. Say you don't object to the divorce." "And what do I get?" she asked immediately. He paused, then spoke slowly. "I'll help you leave the country. Or are you comfortable where you are?" "No," she admitted. "I'm already being asked to leave." "Then we make a deal. You show up, and I help you disappear." A long silence. Then, "Fine. I'll be there." The courtroom felt colder than expected. Not because of the air, because of what it meant. Endings always carried a certain weight. Vanessa arrived hidden behind oversized black sunglasses. Her dark hair was perfectly styled, her posture confident, as if nothing inside her had collapsed, as if she hadn't lost everything in a matter of days. Daniel noticed it immediately, that Privrchная maska, but he also noticed something new, tension, subtle, barely visible. They stood on opposite sides. like strangers. When the judge asked, she answered calmly, "Yes, I agree to the divorce. No objections." Her voice did not tremble, but her fingers tightened slightly around her bag. The judge looked at them both with mild surprise. "If there are no disputes, why did you come to court instead of handling this privately?" Vanessa gave a faint smile. "We thought there might be disagreements, but we resolved everything yesterday. A lie, clean, effortless, just like everything else in her life." The decision was announced. Final in 30 days. A simple phrase, for something that once felt permanent. Outside the courtroom, silence followed them. Then Daniel spoke first. "Tomorrow a truck will come to your address. Everything is already paid. I transferred your share, the car, and the house we used on weekends." Vanessa looked at him, surprised. "I didn't expect anything. You even evaluated that old place." He nodded. "Everything should be fair." For a moment she just watched him. Then her voice softened, almost real. "I think I made a mistake. A big one." He didn't react. "How did you imagine living with me?" he asked calmly. "After all this?" She exhaled slowly. Too much became visible. "I was careful. Very careful. We're here because you still love me. You just walked away." Daniel looked at her. Long, steady. "Do you hear yourself?" She frowned. "What do you mean?" "We are here to end something that already died," he said quietly. "There's nothing left to return to." "But you loved me," she insisted. "And it hurts that you left." "I didn't leave," he corrected her. "I threw you out. When love turned into something else. Something colder. Something that has no way back." He paused, then added, "Goodbye, Vanessa." And this time, sounded real. She watched him walk away. For the first time, she felt something close to fear. Not of being alone, but of being forgotten. Days turned into weeks. Daniel's life slowly rearranged itself. Not dramatically, not instantly, but steadily. He realized something strange. He had been alone long before the divorce. Vanessa had already disappeared from his life months ago, coming and going, living somewhere else even when she was physically there. Now it was just honest. Evenings became quiet, predictable. He stopped waiting for doors to open, stopped listening for Chujuria Shagi. One evening, after work, he stopped by a small cafe near his apartment, a habit he had developed recently. Simple food. No conversations, just time to think. After dinner, he drove home, parked, walked up the stairs, and on the landing he noticed someone. A woman standing near the electrical panel, confused. Next to her stood a little girl, about 6, maybe 7, with light brown hair and curious eyes. Both were staring at the wires like they were some kind of mystery. "Something wrong?" Daniel asked. The woman turned, her face soft, slightly tired, but warm. "The lights went out in my apartment, but the hallway still works. I think something disconnected," she said. Daniel stepped closer. "You understand anything in this?" She shook her head with a small smile. "Not at all. Maybe a wire just came loose." He glanced at the panel, then at her, and at the girl. "Why did you bring her here?" "It's dark inside. She's afraid to stay alone." The girl looked up at him, completely serious. He nodded. "Fair enough." Then took out his phone, called someone. "Hey Chris, need your help. Electrical issue." "Yeah, now." Pause. "Good. Hurry." He ended the call, looked back at the woman. "Who are you?" She hesitated, then answered quietly. "I moved in a week ago. Into that apartment." She pointed. Daniel nodded. "And the previous owners? They moved." "It's a long story," she added. He didn't push, just gave a short nod. "What's your name?" "Kate. And this is Mia." The girl smiled slightly. Daniel looked at her, then back at Kate. "I'm Daniel." A few minutes later, footsteps echoed in the stairwell. Chris arrived. Tall, confident, already rolling up his sleeves. "Don't touch anything," he said immediately, then opened the panel. Worked quickly, carelessly, like someone who had done this 1,000 times. After a few minutes, he stepped back. "You're lucky. Neutral wire burned out. Another hour and this floor would have had serious problems." Kate looked worried. "What kind of problems?" "Higher voltage. Devices burn. Worst case, fire." He shrugged. Kate exhaled slowly. "Nothing was on," she said quickly. Chris smirked. "Not even your fridge. Or your TV on standby." She went quiet. He fixed the issue, closed the panel, then looked at Daniel. "You said something about a drink." Daniel gave a faint smile. "Come in." Kate hesitated, then looked at Mia. "Go." Daniel said softly, "If anything happens, you can knock." Mia nodded seriously. "We will." Daniel watched them walk back into their apartment, then turned and stepped inside his own. For the first time in a long while, the silence didn't feel empty. Morning came quietly. Soft light slipped through the curtains, touching the walls of a home that finally felt calm. Daniel stood in the kitchen, holding a cup of coffee, staring out the window. For the first time in a long time, his thoughts were not about the past. Not about Vanessa. Not about betrayal. Just silence. Honest silence. A knock broke it. Short. Confident. Then another. Louder. Daniel opened the door. Mia stood there holding a doll, slightly out of breath. "You said I could come," she declared seriously. He raised an eyebrow. "And kicking the door is part of visiting." She frowned. "I can't reach the bell. It's too high." He stepped aside. "Fair argument. Come in." She walked in like she owned the place. Paused in the hallway. Her eyes immediately landed on a pair of red heels in the corner. "Old. Forgotten." She pointed. "I want to wear those." Daniel almost smiled. "They'll fall off your feet." "Still want to try?" She insisted. A moment later she was sitting on the floor, trying them on. They were far too big. She stood up anyway, took 2 careful steps, then burst into laughter. "Okay, maybe not." Daniel shook his head. "Let's fix that later. For now, you look like a disaster." She gasped dramatically. "I look beautiful." He raised his hands. "Of course." "Completely." She nodded, satisfied, then suddenly yawned. "Sleep first," he said. She didn't argue. Curled up on the couch within minutes, as if she had always belonged there. Later, when she woke up, the apartment smelled like something warm and simple. "What's that?" she asked, walking into the kitchen. "Breakfast," he replied. "But first, hands." She ran to wash them, came back quickly, sat at the table, watching him carefully. "You promised jam." He looked at her. "Did I? Then I guess I have no choice." He placed a small jar on the table. "Homemade. Dark red. Sweet." Mia's eyes lit up. She took a small bite, paused, then smiled widely. "This is the best thing ever." "Don't tell your—" He stopped. "Kate," she corrected. "Don't tell Kate." He finished. Mia nodded seriously. "Secret." After breakfast they went out. A simple trip. Shoes. Because walking in oversized heels was apparently not practical. The shopping center was crowded. Bright. Loud. Mia walked next to him, holding his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. At one point her sandal broke. She looked down, then up at him. "Well, now you have to buy me new ones." He sighed. "Clearly this was all part of your plan." She grinned. "Maybe." Half an hour later, they were sitting in a small cafe. Ice cream, a new pair of shoes, and a doll sitting between them like an important guest. Across the room, someone was watching. A woman with sharp eyes and a phone in her hand. Violet. She recognized Daniel instantly, and the child next to him. Confusion turned into curiosity. Curiosity into something sharper. She quickly took a photo, sent it. Within seconds, her phone rang. "What is that?" Vanessa's voice came through, tense. "That's your Daniel." with a little girl. Looks like they've been shopping together. Vanessa went silent. Where's the mother? Didn't see one. They left together. Got into his car. Vanessa's grip on the phone tightened. Her world, already unstable, shifted again. Back in the car, Daniel's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Yes, it's Kate. Her voice, calm, warm. How are you two? Everything's fine. He replied. We're near the park. Meet us there. 5 minutes, she said. When they arrived, Kate was already waiting. Simple dress, soft smile, relief in her eyes when she saw Mia. They walked together, 3 silhouettes slowly turning into something more. Mia ran ahead toward the rides. Excited, alive. Daniel watched her, then looked at Kate. You trust me fast. She smiled faintly. I read people. And you don't feel dangerous. He nodded. Fair enough. They spent the afternoon together. Simple moments. Laughter. No tension. No hidden meanings. At some point, Daniel's phone rang again. He didn't need to look. He knew. Vanessa. He answered. What do you want? So it's true. She said immediately. You already replaced me. He exhaled slowly. I didn't replace anything. Then who is that? And the child? Not your concern. He said calmly. You move on fast. She added bitterly. No. He replied. I just stopped waiting. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Are you going to fight for me? She asked suddenly. He almost laughed. Fight? For what exactly? For someone who said she never really loved me. No. Thank you. He looked toward Mia, who was waving at him. We're going on the Ferris wheel. I have a daughter waiting, he said deliberately, then ended the call. Kate looked at him. Everything okay? He nodded. Yeah. More than okay. They walked toward the ride, and as the wheel slowly lifted them above the city, Daniel realized something simple. Some endings are not losses. They are exits. And sometimes, the right people walk in right after. The countryside smelled like summer and quiet freedom. The road stretched ahead, empty, golden under the afternoon sun. Daniel drove slowly, not because he had to, because he wanted to. Mia sat in the back, hugging her doll, humming something soft. Kate looked out the window, her hair catching the light. There was something peaceful about her, something real. No masks, no games. They reached the house near the lake just before sunset. Wooden walls, old porch, the kind of place where time didn't rush. Daniel stepped out first, took a deep breath. Home, not the apartment. This. He turned to them. Welcome. Mia ran past him immediately, exploring every corner like it was a kingdom. Kate followed more slowly, smiling. You didn't tell me it was this beautiful. He shrugged. Some things are better seen. Evening came gently. They sat outside. Tea. Honey. Quiet conversations. No need to impress. No need to pretend. At some point, Mia fell asleep on the couch inside. Exhausted. Happy. Kate covered her with a blanket, then stepped outside again. Daniel was sitting on the porch, looking at the water, lost in thought. She sat Radham. Close. But not too close. You're very different with her, she said softly. With Mia. He nodded. Kids don't lie. They either feel safe, or they don't. And she does. Kate looked at him. And you? Are you okay now? He didn't answer immediately. Then, yes. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is honest. She smiled faintly. That matters more. Silence again. But warm this time. The next morning came with sunlight and the smell of something cooking. Kate was already in the kitchen, making breakfast. Simple, careful. Daniel watched from the doorway, without interrupting, without rushing. For the first time, he didn't feel like a guest in his own life. Later that week, they returned to the city. Routine slowly rebuilt itself. But now it included them. Mia knocking on his door. Kate calling him in the evenings. Shared dinners. Small privuchka that turned into something bigger. Then came the event. The hospital anniversary. Crowded, bright, full of chuzhuk voices. Kate showed him a man across the room. That's him, she said quietly. The one who keeps bothering me. A man in an expensive suit noticed her immediately. His smile confident. Too confident. He walked toward them, but slowed down when he saw Daniel. And the way Daniel stood next to her. Not aggressive. Not loud. Just present. Which table are you at? The man asked. We won't stay long. Daniel replied calmly. We have a daughter at home. The word landed exactly where it needed. The man's expression shifted. Subtle, but clear. After the formal part, they sat together. Kate barely touched her drink. Daniel kept his promise. No alcohol. No unnecessary conversations. By evening, they were ready to leave. Before they could stand, Daniel reached into his pocket. Pulled out a small box. Kate froze. Sasha, she started. He opened it. A ring. Simple. Elegant. Real. I know it's fast, he said quietly, but I also know what I feel. And I know what we can become. You, me, Mia. Family. She looked at him. Conflicted. Overwhelmed. We barely know each other. She whispered. He smiled slightly. Enough. To not want to lose this. Silence. Long. Deep. Then she exhaled. And nodded. Yes. Not loud. But certain. Months passed. Life didn't explode into happiness. It grew into it. Steadily. Calmly. Mia started calling him Dad without even noticing. Kate stopped hesitating when she reached for his hand. And Daniel stopped looking back. Completely. Almost. One evening in a restaurant during a regional conference. A familiar voice broke the calm. Daniel. He turned. Vanessa. Still beautiful. Still sharp. But different. Less certain. She looked at Kate. Mia. At the way they stood together. And understood everything without words. Take care of him, she said quietly to Kate. And protect what you have. Kate nodded. Without questions. Without judgment. Vanessa looked at Daniel one last time. There was something in her eyes now. Not manipulation. Not confidence. Regret. Genuine. But too late. Daniel gave a small nod. Polite. Distant. She walked away. This time. For real. No return. No second chances. Only consequences. Daniel turned back. To his life. To his future. To the people who chose him. And whom he chose in return. And that was enough. More than enough. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.